said somebody said that, well, people can say a lot of things, but those questions should be asked, and you ask them how, And if you say, well, this is what it does, and then you say, well, if that's going to be the result, then you don't need to tell me as a victim. Go tell the white people that you say they're going to be inspired now to change their ways toward black people. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't, then you got your evidence that it doesn't work. So go tell white people about the great Ethiopian empires and see if it changes their behavior. Because I have no reason to believe that will do it.
Why do you say that?
Because the white supremacists have studied a lot about black people and what they used to do. In fact, they had to study them while they were doing it. That's how they were able to conquer them, by finding their weaknesses, which history has proven they had a bunch of them. And where's the evidence of this? They're in the shape that they're in now. Who cares anything about Ethiopians or Somalians or the people in Timbuktu? Who wants to go there that's got any sense? Everybody's trying to get out. So whatever was happening there, it came to naught. It didn't sustain itself. So there were glaring weaknesses in whatever it was, or it would not have disappeared and become to nothing, which is what all those places are. Occupied by permanent beggars and people who are at odds even with each other. This is very significant that white person was talking to a non-white person about this solution. That alone tells you something. Why are you talking to me? Since you say this works, why aren't you talking to the people who are going to make it work? I can't make it work. You say that it'll work, but you're telling the incorrect person. What am I supposed to do with this information? You take it to the white people. You're right there next door to them. They're right there in the house with you. You tell them that and see what their reactions will be. Don't tell me. That's not helping. The view would be that, first of all, there's no such thing as a civilization, and as far as recorded history is concerned, never has been. Let's get that straight. No civilizations have ever existed. Civilized people do not mistreat each other, period. And they help people who need help the most. It's called justice. Nobody's recorded history shows this in any significant manner. All the history that's being glorified is history of dissension, conflict, building up to tear down. That's not civilized. So forget the civilizations. Now, that's number one. Number two, you don't have to have a precedent in order to do the correct thing. All you have to do is know what the correct thing is to do. It doesn't have to be done before. Everything has a first time. So it's a myth about in order for something to be done, it had to have been done before. The universe was created. It hadn't been done before. So justice, if it ever did exist, and if it didn't exist, doesn't matter. It can be done because it has been a concept and still is a concept. So when something is a concept, it can be done right from scratch because the materials are here to do it. People can't create anything, never have anyway. But you can arrange things that have been created, and you can arrange a thing called justice, meaning guaranteeing that no person is mistreated and guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. Now that's the definition that I coined for the term justice, since there is no legal or even a functional definition for justice that's spelled out. In a compensatory fashion, I spelled it out because that's what compensation means, making up for what's missing. What was missing was a functional definition for the word justice. 2 parts, guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help, and in the process, you guarantee that no person is mistreated. It's never been seriously tried, as far as anybody knows. The concept has been around like forever. People give it lip service, but it's a very simple formula. 10 people in a room, you just simply ask, okay, is anybody in here who's being mistreated? And if so, by whom? Under what circumstances? So you take care of that with all 10 people, starting with the person who's being harmed the most. That's the law of compensation. Then you say, now, is anybody in here who needs constructive help? Everybody holds up their hand. All 10 people in the room say, yes, everybody in here needs help. Say, okay, let's do it in an orderly manner. Let's start with the person who needs the most constructive help and the most of it. And that can be easily figured out in a room of 10 people. You just start with the person that needs the most help. You'll say, well, there's Susie there. Susie's list of things is longer than anybody else's of the things that she needs constructive help on. So we start with that with Susie. Everybody pitches in and helps Susie. And then, because Susie's got 30 things on our list. Okay, then who's next? Well, the next person has 22. So that person is next. And so on and so on, until you finally get to the 10th person who has 8. That's the procedure. Start with the person that needs the most help, all over the world. And then you'll produce, theoretically, that thing that we say that we all would like to see, the thing called peace. Because justice plus correctness, using truth to get there, got to have the truth, will theoretically equal peace. Peace has never been established. Nowhere. Everything is in conflict. And the white supremacists more than anybody are the masters of that conflict. As the way the world is right now. It is the duty of every person, white and non-white, to change that. But you have to have that focus. The first order of business, in order to get to that thing we call peace and justice and correctness, using truth to get there. First order of business is to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice. Why? Because that's the most powerful system for manipulating people on the planet.